Greetings and welcome back to another exciting hardcore Minecraft adventure brought to you by Hambbage. Thrilled to have you here with me, and for anyone who is continuing along from the last episode in the same play session, excuse my hiccups. I just took a sip of a drink and seems to be fighting for air still. Anyway, thanks so much for coming on back. I'm always thrilled to have you guys and hope you're enjoying what you're seeing. If you do, please feel free to leave a like or comment to let me know. And with that, we'll... man, every time when you go from the recording tool back to the main window, if you already have it big and then you click on the top, even though you're not clicking in the little multi-window resize button, it just drops it back down. I don't know. Anyway, here we are. We'd reached the end of our little diamond hunting tunnel. I don't know. We're still not as far as we've been on some of the others. So I think we'll just keep pressing on. 1, 2. We'll get our rhythm back here. For anyone who may be joining us for the first time in this episode, I'll let you know there's loads of earlier ones that some are full of excitement and danger, others are full of steady progress on our farm. Hopefully they're all fun and definitely something enjoyable to watch, so you're encouraged to check out any of the previous sessions on YouTube in the playlist there. But today, we are looking for diamonds. We just got a pick built that's stashed away in our pockets with Fortune 3 and Unbreaking 3 and Mending, and it has Efficiency 4 on it. We'll later hope to rectify that and get Efficiency 5. That is one enchantment that we still are unable to just purchase from traders, but we'd like to eventually, and we'll hopefully get to that point. Not too distant future, but for the moment, we are hoping to go find at least one more pocket of diamonds and turn those into enough to build a few more picks. Would be great. So just to show, and we'll only do this through one stack because I don't want to blow it up, and it really works better in aggregate. Of course, it only gives us one. It's a Fortune 3 pick. It's one piece of coal. Murphy's Law definitely says that's how it's going to happen. But when you have Silk Touch and you're bringing home stacks, all the ore that you've gathered up, be it coal, redstone, emeralds, or diamonds, or some of the quartz that you find in the nether, breaking those in bulk with Fortune, you're going to get a much, much higher average. And while you still may get some that have no direct benefit from the Fortune, you're going to have others that give you multiples of what you might have had otherwise. So that's where you really start to see, oh wow, I just got full inventory from a couple stacks. So that's what we're excited about having. And while we won't be on that scale for a little while here, if we can just find a couple of diamonds, that should be enough to get us into the diamond pick mode. And remember, we already have Silk Touch out there in our villager outpost offerings. I'm trying to make sure that's right before we get off. So once we get more diamond picks, just like we did on this last one, all we have to do is roll for Efficiency 4 on the enchanting table, and then we can put everything else that we need on them. So we're really close to getting them, and of course I'm probably making that less and less likely by talking about the fact that we just need a pocket of diamonds, but they're out there. We'll find them. I'm just going to persevere, and we've been lucky. We've certainly not had to wait on our armor too excessively long. So I'm not ungrateful. Ooh, we got a new cave, though. I don't know that we've been in this one, unless this is possibly a ravine that we've come across. I'm like, oh yeah, let me go get that torch first. What was this? Have I been here? And is anything going to come and try to jump on my head? I don't think we've been out this far, so this is good. Fingers crossed, people. Get the toes, get the fingers, any nose hairs that you may have, go ahead and cross those. It's a little interesting. This is a lily flower. I don't know that we've even had one of those yet. No, we haven't. It's kind of cool. You don't expect to see those with no daylight. I guess it's growing in the glow of the lava. Sadly, not a huge cave and no obvious diamonds. This is old, falling back on old habits that I used to do every time I came across underground lava lakes. Back when I first started, kind of getting into more developed survive. Got not to sound too braggy, but I got good enough in hardcore to live long enough to actually build out some worlds and not just find that I was on a death loop every time I got low. So when I was doing that and building elaborate mines at this level 11, not to get too bold, but I'm pretty good at hardcore Minecraft, guys. I just wanted you to know. Fall in the lava, but that's the that's the experience. Carry a bucket of water, jump back out, put yourself out, don't panic, and you'll be just fine. You don't, these things aren't necessarily disasters or super, super dangerous, but until you practiced it a few times, there was certainly a lot of times where I touched lava, that was going to be it for me, especially if you haven't kind of died enough times to know, make sure that when you're walking along the edge of lava, you're not a block high, that you're going to be able to get back out of it if you do fall in. Once you learn to watch the edges of gravel, if you're hearing lava bubbling and there's gravel under your feet and you're level 12, level 11, anything around there, it can be floating on lava, and you can accidentally kind of walk yourself out in the middle of a lake, and then if you happen to break one block that makes the whole thing let go, boom, that can be a real dangerous situation, no matter who you are. If you got too far to go, and that's why. As you get more equipment, and are exploring the different realms and things, you can having a stack of pearls and things like that, if you suddenly find yourself dropping into situations you can't get yourself out of just by jumping or walking, if you got a pearl, you can, throw it to dry land, hopefully, and get away from some of that trouble. So always kind of be thinking, how am I going to get out of some situation like that? And for me, down here, even though I don't use it on most trips, unless I just have a reason not to, I will usually carry a bucket and throw some water in it. And I'd prefer to keep some of those lakes lava. They keep things lit up and it's nice and all that. But I won't cry if I like I did in that one. Let it spill out over and make some more obsidian. We may use it someday, but ideally, I'd like to do my obsidian mine a little closer to home instead of coming all the way out here. Hey, what do you know? So with lava, you never know how deep. See, I'm trying to place these stone blocks, and I can't because I can't reach the bottom. But I can see on these edges, so there's nothing to stick a block to out here. I don't have an edge. I can stick one right here, and it'll give me the surface, but I don't. I know there's lava down below it, so what I'll try to do I do usually when I get to these, you can use a bucket of water and just top level obsidian. It's not going to break anything like that. I just try to see if I can reach down and maybe click a lower block. Now here, unless it just got shallow, I know I'm just going to have to pop one down there. But now we've gotten out a ways into this lava. We don't know how far it's going to go, if it even has an air pocket above it, which doesn't seem to. It's kind of one of those deals where anytime you want it to, they don't. But the reason why, again, I'd like to see further out into these is when you're down low like this, it's not impossible that there's a little patch of diamonds that the lava has shown you the edge of, and so just kind of using those natural advantages, if there are any to be had, when we're out like this, yeah, take a look. Just see if there's something you can make use of to speed this process up a little bit. In this case, nope. But we made it across the lava lake. We didn't fall in this time. Small victories. So what else is fun and going on for people? Anybody encountered anything near death in their hardcore Minecraft worlds? If you're making videos like that, I'd love to see them. Go ahead and throw your name in the your screen name in the comments if you're a creator, and I'd love to go check out some of the people. Usually, even when I'm recording these, I've usually got something up on the screen, just silent, but something going kind of in the corner that keeps me going. And when it's kind of one of those, I think a reason a lot of people don't continue to make videos or stream as much as they thought they might when they, so many people, oh, I'd love to do that, I'd love to do that. They do it, run for a little bit, run out of enthusiasm, or get frustrated with it and give it up. And, I understand. I didn't come in here expecting that I was going to have 20,000 views on my first videos or anything like that. And I'm grateful for the individuals that are at least taking a look and checking those out. I appreciate you guys for giving them a try, and hopefully you'll come back or spread the word. But I think a lot of people see, it's like musicians, right? You see a pop star, Taylor Swift, right? She's phenomenally successful and has just had an enchanted career for the last how long? I don't know. I can't say I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan, right? But I know her name, so that's good. I could probably come up with a couple of her songs if pressed. But she people, when you're a kid, you're like, oh, I want to be a rock star, I want to be a singer, that kind of stuff, and everybody's out there going, oh, I want to be like that, and that's what they envision the career of being a singer is singing to sold out professional sports venues with 50,000 people all watching, or pay-per-view type events, doing halftime shows at the Super Bowl, all those kinds of crazy opportunities. But that isn't really what the career of being a musician is for 99.95, blah, 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 of the professional musicians that are out there. When you think that you go out to dinner or something like that, and it's sadly less common today than it was even not too terribly long ago. But so many restaurants now are parts of larger corporations, and they have a prescribed venue, decor and that kind of stuff that they just kind of go by the recipe, and there's an operations manual, probably. I don't know, but I kind of envision that that's the deal. You don't see as many individual restaurant type places where you go to dinner, and while they're doing it, it's not just a dedicated show, but you have musicians that are playing for your enjoyment, rather than Muzak piped in over a satellite system in the whole radio. So it varies, but even if you get to the smaller bars and clubs and things, for those of us that are older and are able to go to those kinds of shows, there are hundreds of small bands that are making a living by doing those kinds of shows than there are entertainers that are playing to open air stadiums, that kind of huge crowds and making millions. And I think streaming, is a lot the same way, and probably I don't have a lot of room to stand on here. I'm so brand new to this, but I think that if you're going to do a creative style career, whether it's streaming or music or art or anything like that, where it's something that you want to put yourself or the things that you produce out there for a larger public, first of all, awesome. The world needs more people like you, and I hope you have lots of success. But two, it has to be a hobby. It has to be something you'd be perfectly willing to do for fun and for free first. And that's where this is. I just like the game, and each time I have a successful or long-term world, if I think about saying, oh man, I'm doing this, it's so cool, it'd be cool to show you, maybe I'll, the whole idea of a world tour type video thing, where it's like, maybe I'll look at doing that and just fly around my world and show you what I'm talking about or what I've been working on. Those are cool ideas, but they never really happen. Frankly, the people in your life that may not be as into a particular game title or game play style or anything like that, it's like watching vacation pictures from your friends, and it that used to be more of a deal when I was a little kid, and this is going way back. Many of you may not even know, but I'm sure you're familiar with the concept. But people used to have slide projectors before there were, before any kind of digital media. There's no computers, none of that kind of stuff, and even before VCR cameras, those came along as I was a kid. That was kind of went from super rare to everybody had one while I was growing up. And before that, it was if you were into travel and you were into photography, you got a nice 35 millimeter film camera of some kind, and you would take that along on vacation, and you would get some. When you came back from vacation, you'd have no idea what your pictures looked like, and you'd take them into the little film processing store, and I think famously in Back to the Future, I want to say that the little stand that gets blown up in the first Back to the Future movie was a photo processing lab thing, and there were a couple of comedies, that were probably haven't aged as well, but definitely lived, where some of the characters worked in these photo mart little stands that were out in mall parking lots. But there were a lot of camera stores and things too, because you had to buy film and everything else. So you'd go into these stores, and places like Walgreens and CVS, or those kind of places, they would all have a photo lab in addition to like a pharmacy. It was a service that people needed in wherever their hometowns were. So anyway, there was a time before digital, and a lot of us lived in it. But what I was going to say is, for some people, you would then, when you took in your film and you dropped it off, and you don't know how any of those pictures turned out, which makes it all the more amazing that there were such good photographers back in the day, right? I love photography. I don't do it as much, but it was certainly a creative outlet for me in my adulthood, and for a while there, I was doing quite a bit of it, more similar to this, but I think this just expands out as a more involved media sense. But yeah, I did a lot of digital photography, and the way that I learned was by having that instant digital feedback. You'd go back through, you could process your pictures that night that you'd taken, or even during the day that if you went out early at dawn and took some pictures, you could come back and look at them while it was still fresh in your mind, what you'd been seeing and what you were trying to capture on your camera. So you didn't have any of that. When it was film and it had to be processed, even if you had your own dark room, which I never knew anybody that did, but good photographers would have, you still had to wait for all of those pictures to dry and hang them, and all that kind of stuff to get the actual pictures and look at them. So it's something we take for granted today. But when you went on vacation, a lot of times you'd go get your snapshots done, and it seemed like there were always deals, and the deals would either be you could get 2-for-1 prints, so you could you get 3x5 pictures. If your grandparents or anybody have photo albums old, there would be this range of pictures. Very occasionally maybe you'd get one blown up larger, but usually if you wanted big family pictures or something like that, you'd go to a professional photographer. They'd have a studio. They'd sit, and I think people still do that to some extent. But school pictures, same deal. You'd go in. I don't know. Do they still do school pictures for kids these days? I mean, why? It's kind of like one of those kind of a waste of time. Everybody's got their picture all over the web anyway. I don't know. Who knows what's going on with some of that kind of stuff. But anyway, when you went on vacation, you'd come back home, you'd have these rolls of film. You'd take more pictures when you're on vacation than you would normally just, walking around town doing your daily life. So you'd have a bunch of rolls of film, and you'd drop them all off at the store, and then you'd wait a couple days and come back, and you'd get a little pouch with all your pictures, or you'd have a little box of little cardboard slides with mini pictures in them, and those mini pictures you would then project through a slide projector. Think of those projectors that you can show HD movies on the wall with now. Back in the day, you'd have a loud fan cooled projector, and it would either have a little carousel on the top. Some people may have seen pictures of those, or it would just have an individual slide arm, and that was why they were slides. They would slide in front of the light bulb, and then they would slide back out again. And when they were in front of the light bulb, they would show up on a screen or on a wall or whatever. And you would, if your family members or friends or something would go to an exciting place that either you had some interest in, they knew that you'd been there before or something like that, and with my family half being from England, my parents even more, and I was lucky enough that they took me over a couple times too. But growing up, we had more European type trips than a lot of people do, and they would certainly, knowing that wasn't an every even few years thing, we'd take a lot of pictures and try to go, do a lot of things on those trips, and they would get captured by the cameras and made into slides and awesome stuff. But then you'd have an evening where you'd watch it. Well, that's cool. It's really fun when it's people that when it's your family. I remember we would, as we were little kids, we would fight each other. My sister and I, like, oh, I want to see the years that I was a little baby. No, I want to see the years that I was a little baby, and all that kind of stuff. You want to see things that are familiar to you. And when it was our parents going, oh, here's some pictures of when we were on our honeymoon, or things like that, really cool trips. And nowadays, my dad has done a lot of converting some of that kind of stuff to digital, which is very cool. But nowadays, I want to see, oh, when you guys were, in Europe in the 50s or 60s, and had all these. You go back and look at some of those images now, and they're almost, when you learn a little bit more about history and things, and you go, oh my goodness, you were in Paris, and it was. Nowadays, we look back and you go, okay, yeah, that wasn't that long ago. Even when I was a kid, I was like, okay, that was 10, 15 years, whatever earlier. These are not exact years by any means, but when my parents went on trips from starting way before I was born to pretty recent, and you'd look at those and go, okay, yeah, that was a few years ago, and it wasn't particularly exciting to us because we weren't in them. And it's the same way if you're watching your friends now and they're walking you through their trip and they're going, okay, yeah, now look at this picture. Oh, this beach was so amazing. They have all these stories, and they're telling you the memories that they made, that those pictures evoke. And that's very long-winded reason, as I come back around to the point here, which we wandered far from. When you record just a flying tour of a world and go, oh, here's my world, isn't it cool? Here's this building, blah, blah, blah. Even people that play the game and go, oh, yeah, I've done something similar. The ones that are gonna be most interested in those types of video clips are gonna be the ones where they evoke a memory for the viewer of their own worlds, right? They're not going to have the context. And think of it, I'm trying to think, think of it in terms of, what's the story? Well, like our little villager, right? The 30 mending guy that in the last episode we returned to town because we'd gotten a later cheaper mending offer from a different villager, and we'd locked that in. And ultimately, we didn't want to take up a space in our complex for another mending trade, so we brought him back to the village. Well, if in a future episode we go to that town and we go, "Hey, Mr. Villager," and we all have a good laugh because, oh, remember when we almost put him on an ice floe and just got rid of him that way, but then we decided to hook him up? There's a whole story there, right? And that's a shared common memory that's fun and makes it significant if you see something that reminds you of that event. If you don't have any of that context, and we had an elytra, we went on a flyover and we went over by that village and we said, hey, there's that villager, blah, 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 blah. You don't care because you didn't even have the ability to have been there when it happened, and you have no context. Here, if we fly over and you've never watched the series before, you may go, wait, what? What happened? When did you say you did that? I want to go back and check at least you have the option to go back and find the context for whatever I thought was cool if I'm showing off my world. You don't have that if you just do a tour. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to do these recordings. And it further goes back to that's why if you're starting recording, you can't have the expectation that you're going to be the Taylor Swift of video. Expect that you're going to be the school band teacher that dedicates their life to making sure that kids have an opportunity to learn music because you care about music and you know that those opportunities aren't as common anymore. At least there's certainly a whole lot more digital type tools. There's people that can mix and sample and do their music that wasn't available without, multi-track recorders years earlier, just a generation ago. So there's pros and cons of all that, but it's the dedication level, right? If you're going to think about doing recordings, do them because you have something that, even if it's only a handful of people ever see, you're sharing the stories and you want that context recorded and out there so it's available. And for me, this world has had more entertainment, and I've been more excited when I'm not playing to get back to it than I have for any worlds in a long, long time, because I want to share it with the audience, and no matter how large or small that audience is, um, I don't care. I'm not going to stress about, did this particular video have more or less views than the last one, even when hopefully that starts continuing to grow. Day one, yeah, there's not many views. Now, over time, the first video has gotten more as it's been out there longer, and it's the first. A lot of people will go, oh yeah, what's the first video? And if it's not their cup of tea, okay, that one will get more initial looks than some of the later ones. But I've been happy with being now I'm really happy with just being a couple weeks, if that, into this. I've been thrilled, and I can't thank you guys enough for coming to the channel, checking it out. I don't know, I think there's a lot of tools and stuff. I remember back from pre-video when it was just kind of web blog type stuff, and I did some of that analytics tools and stuff could tell you some of the trends and things. Is it returning videos? I haven't even bought. There's not enough, frankly, for me to even bother looking. It would probably be a little depressing, despite everything I've just said. You don't want to find out too much until it's out there, but don't go into these kinds of things thinking that it's all or nothing based on getting some pre-expected number. So, speaking of pre-expected numbers, did you guys see the look I just did at the diamond count? We'll wait till we get upstairs here, and I see it's getting dark, so we'll probably do a quick duck into bed, and then savor our goodness here when the sun comes up. 15. How awesome is that? I think we had a 6 pile there. It was kind of a split cube of diamonds, and we got 15 out of it. Absolutely couldn't ask for anything more for where we're at the game right now. That's just what we needed. So we've talked about it a whole lot. We're going to, unfortunately, we can't go down and roll these yet for efficiency, and that's going to be our next greatest feat. Is we want to roll picks to try to get efficiency, and then we can buy Silk Touch, Unbreaking, and Mending to put on them as well. And we're in full business here to the point where we have more than we really even need. But I would certainly like to swap some of these guys out and run a complement of eventual Silk Touch picks. So that's definitely the next piece of what we've been waiting for. Now we'll have another little grind while we juggle trying to get efficiency 5 in a villager trade and try to get levels to pop those in. And unfortunately, as we all know, sitting around and re-rolling the offers from villagers is not a great way to get experience or levels. So hopefully in all our diamond hunting days, we gave these guys a chance to get close. We'll at a minimum do why? Come on. At a minimum, we'll do these guys. Get some more melons and some more pumpkins. We can flip those, and sitting at level 13, that would be pretty significant. There's a few holes in our carrots. It's not impossible to harvest, but I think by doing a spin here on our axe crops and try to get them gathered up. Of course, they're gonna doubly give us experience when we trade them back to our villagers. So it's the potential experience when we're harvesting these guys. But wheat and pumpkins, pumpkins and potatoes. I don't know why. My brain knows the difference, but it's one of those things that you don't think about when you're just, kind of verbally rolling along as you do in game commentary like this. The two pea veggies are interchangeable when I speak, as opposed to when I'm just thinking about them. So I apologize for all the inadvertent pumpkins when I'm really talking about taters, but we'll get there. I don't really listen even when I'm scanning. Like I said, I will double check the mute on the mic on that the start of my earlier recording today, but I don't know that anybody really enjoys listening to their own voice. It's I don't know. Maybe some people do. Maybe some people get a real thrill out of it. For me, I always sound weird. My voice in my own head, and then what you hear back on the recording. It's me. I know what I sound like recorded, and I know part of it is the amount of quality in the recordings that you're making. You can definitely tell some of the top end streamers have a little bit more processing that just smooths out some of those pieces, but that is not to say that the top end folks aren't well practiced at what they do, and it is such a real skill. When you hear, if you haven't, it's kind of like reading a school paper, standing up and doing a presentation in front of a class at school. It's nerve-wracking, but we've all done it, and you survive it. It's not potentially life-threatening to do it. But once you do it, you have much more of a appreciation for, giving a 5-minute speech can be a pretty long process, and there's things that make you sound well practiced, and I will be the first to admit I haven't practiced any of those things in such a long time that I am making a lot of the mistakes, and it may be enough to make some of you all cringe and head away, but I know the broken phrases, yeah, that kind of stuff. The people that are well practiced minimize all that in their own speech, and they know that hey, I'm going to be going on the air. I've got to speak in a certain voice, and whether that's slowing down and just taking time to articulate well what your main points are, not going off on long tangents. If I did it better, excuse me again, not hiccuping in the middle of it. If I did it better, I wouldn't have to apologize for it. But I do think learning, and we've just been on this long tangent talk while we've been hunting for diamonds, and it's continued. That's what I get to do. It's part of the fun of. These are the kinds of things that I hope others think about too. You let your mind wander when you're playing a game. It's part of the enjoyment and the why these are relaxing activities instead of just a pure grind, or something you feel you have to do. It's you get the chance to unwind and let your mind, not wander, but within the focus of activities that you can do pleasantly and are familiar with, you can let the ideas that pop in your mind kind of process. And one of the surprisingly fun things in this, and I didn't come in with my eyes shut as to the possibility of that, is that you get to kind of, instead of just letting your mind scatter jump from the next to the next to the next thought, cycling around, when you're doing a recording and know that it's out there, and regardless of the size of your audience, there's the possibility to finish those or get some feedback or cycle back, and as thoughts occur to you, if you start talking about them, you really owe it to yourself and to them to circle around and finish them. And I hope I haven't left too many things dangling out on the floor out there in my rambling talks, but there's certainly the possibility I have, and I apologize when I have done that. What I wanted to I want to do a lot of things. What I wanted to do most specifically right at the moment was drop off my fortune axe, because now that we've gotten more of these, even though they aren't yet set up with our Silk Touch, oh man, I was going to buy books. Dang it. Sorry. So what I wanted to do, in part, was to come over here and buy up a few more Unbreaking for Silk Touch and a couple more mending books, so that I can have them over here in the chest by my enchanting table, and then when we get the levels, we don't have to bounce back and forth. Like I said, I don't think we're going to sit and farm the Efficiency 5 book right at the moment. I'm sure you guys are as tired of it as I have been, of chatting with villagers while we wait to see if they'll offer us the right thing. And every time I get into this situation, I want to just push through. It's, if I just get it, it'll be good and we'll be done and fine. That's good. And that's another part of doing these for a recording for a real or potential audience, is you want to be aware that now you're not just doing this for your own in the moment pleasure. You're doing it for people that are watching. And this is typically an activity I would have done with something um, mentally engaging while I was just rolling them through. If I had a sporting event or a movie, something on TV that was going, or some other, maybe it was some music that had been recorded, listening to a show or watching that, or any of those kind of things where you don't have to just be completely plugged in while you have an audience. That's something that you want to understand. All right, we've done this a few times. Obviously, I want efficiency 5. I think I've made that very clear to everyone. But I also appreciate that, it's nice to not just always stare at villagers. And we've done that for much of the past weekend and now today. So we'll do our shopping. If we can find the trades. I think this was one, right? Is this Silk Touch? Silk Touch for 7. Oh man, I don't even have all my stuff. Boom, 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 boom. Silk Touch. Sir, I would like 4 of your finest Silk Touch books. 'Cause I don't think I had any of those in hand back in my chest. So very good. We got those. Sir, I would like to buy. This is. Oftentimes, I don't make my villager cells quite this roomy. I will just make them too deep. And I was like, I didn't say anything about it while we were setting up the recordings or laying this out. But I was thinking to myself, you know what? We're making the videos. Let's make them a little more roomy. They'll look a little nicer, and I won't be as likely to double place the lecterns on the guy's feet, which you guys have certainly seen a few times along the way here. But that's something I've certainly tried to avoid, and I did this intentionally without really talking about it to say, okay, well, if he's stuck in a corner, and just turn the other way. And I'm sure you guys have noticed a few times that I've done that as we've been working. So now we need our good mending trader, which I believe is over here, and he was at 10. This is just whoa, no, oh no, pick that up, sir. And it's amazing that we still have over nearly 2 stacks of emeralds still going, and we're just buying up everything that we could possibly need. And I say that kind of joking, like, oh yeah, we're buying up everything we could possibly need for these picks. But I think I'm going to do it because we still have so many stinking emeralds left. I'm going to have a couple extras of each of these, and we'll just use them as they come needed. We'll need unbreaking and or mending for all our armor and all our tools. And since we're here, he's even going to give us a deal. So now we're getting this for 11. This is really just kind of silly. How. And we'll see what your trade is. Your next trade is. Come on, get your bubbles. There's your bubbles. No more, but we could buy lanterns. I mean, they're easy enough to make. I don't see a whole lot of good in that. None of that really excites me. But now he's down to 10 on sale. Fortunately, though, we have more than enough. Sorry about the double round trip to get there, and a little bit more idle chit chat as we waited for night to fall. But having these will now we can say you guys have a good little break. Just they can. It's like when you have company, and if you have folks stay at your house or something, it's usually their friend, somebody you know well, and you're happy to have when you're glad, but you're always kind of happy when you just, all right, I'm back to it's just me or just my, your family in your house. Everything's back to normal, and it's kind of nice. Well, maybe they're gonna enjoy that little break that we'll give them. They don't have to, wipe down the bathrooms twice a day just to make sure that they're ready anytime company needs to go inside of, that kind of stuff. You just get a little more. I think I always see just the edge of this. Every time I approach, I'm like, is that a zombie flesh? What's sitting out there? I think it's just that edge. Anyway, I've never been this flush with books at this level where now we're sitting at 18, and all we want to do is get these picks back to a point where we can enchant them up. And what I'm going to do, I think, is reorient these vertically for storage purposes. Silk touch, unbreaking, and like I said, it's probably the first run of many. And I had also talked about bringing an anvil over to the villager spot, and we got over a full row in the box of unbreaking books. That's absolutely amazing. We're frighteningly close to getting boots all set up. We've got protection 4, so we wouldn't need to stack them. The feather falling is the main extra boot thing that I'm worried about. We've gotten unbreaking. The main other one that comes to mind right now is Depth Strider. Frostwalker, I don't know if that's exclusive with either of the others, but typically Depth Strider and Feather Falling are the two that the boot specific enchants that I want. And I know now, I still consider it kind of new, but the Soul Speed or whatever they call the new Nether enchantment for boots, I believe you can just put that on independently. I know I have on some boots, and that isn't a terrible thing. It's nice when you have it, but I don't go out of my way for it. So anyway, very, very well set. We're not going to burn levels until we really have a chance to look, but I'm not sure if it'll show. So we already have one garbage and another just look inside the behind the curtain. If I had a dark room enchanting already set up, which usually, you don't get to this point until you've already done all that kind of stuff. If I was rolling stuff here and looked and go, oh, I don't want Fortune 3. I've already got my Fortune 3 pick. That is now a bad enchantment. I don't want that at all on my picks. So what I would do before I reset is I'm just going to roll books, even though I'm not at level 30. And from now on, there's not much. Some of the armor would benefit from being high level. Particularly the helmet. If we see a Res 3, having extra enchantments on it when we apply may be good, but we don't need to be beyond level 30 because efficiency 4 or prot 4, those are our top level stuff that we're going to get anyway, and anything else that could stack we can put on with a book. So it's a bit of a toss on levels. We spend a few less to get them in the first batch, but they're cheap. We're in good shape. So this is how I would roll if I'm under a dark room spawner. We'll just do it here as a little bit of a sample. So knowing that I want a high efficiency for these picks, I can just roll through, and I'm not at level 30. So I can't apply any of these, but now I see it, right? This is what I want to try, and even if it has fortune, I have to wipe it off. That's what I want to put on my pick. So now I know I've got it ready. This will never change until I make a new enchantment. I have to enchant something. If I don't, I can wait, 400 in-game days, come back, put a pick on, and if I haven't enchanted something at this or any other table, I could make 4 different enchanting tables and put them all around the world. I'm gonna see the same option here. I believe that's how. I don't think you can get around. I think the offer is the offer. I don't know how bookcases impact that. I know I've had multiple enchanting setups in my worlds at different locations, but they've always all had full bookcases. So maybe there's a way to finagle that. I don't know. But it doesn't matter, right? This is what we've got. If we hadn't seen this on this one, we could have enchanted another one book. I'm not going to do it, but say that was another fortune. Boom, boom. We would take the power one, go. It's only going to cost us one level. And remember, it's quicker to get these levels than it is to get 25 to 30. So we can roll through a bunch of one experience, one level books to find the enchant we want quickly, and do it, at whatever level you start at, and then just keep them low, right? Go up to 10. Restock up those 10 levels, run through another few books. We're going to find efficiency I hope, before I shoot myself in the foot, but I hope we're going to find that pretty regularly as we go along here. It's pretty common, and again, it's not final for these picks. We want to get them to efficiency 5, but the only way to do that is either to add 2 efficiency 4 books or get the efficiency 5 trade. So we'll kind of hold out for that. But now we're at a nice place where our main driver now is going to be getting experience instead of diamonds or any specific thing. And we're just talking about darkroom spawners. A very good option. We may do one shortly, but between now and then, I'm just doing this while we're talking. This is just, as I said, I want to start working a little more on the expansion of our room here, so that when we do apply fortune to our rangings for ores, we can do that in the comfort and security here of our base, and have at least a 64 run to throw them all down and then go back through and mine them up quickly. That can be done one of 2 ways. they're both equally valid. I've used them both plenty. You have the option of stacking your silk touch stuff. You go outside, and when I do it that way, I usually stack 4, so it ends up looking like one of the big spruce or jungle trees, where it's just a 2 by 2 long extended cube going skyward. And if you run up 4 stacks of those straight up, then you can run back down them. With gravity, you don't have to jump, you don't have to hit the keyboard at all, you just mine straight down. What I do kind of find, though, is that you got to jump all the way up to place all those, and you're either spinning with your mouse all the way down on the 4. You kind of stand in the middle of the 4, just like when I go down the trees after I've chopped my way up. I just kind of stand in the middle and spin all the way back down again. So you can do it that way, but it's really quicker if you just go up a single stack and then chop your way straight back down again. Well, that gets inefficient because then you're blowing through food all, all the time. I've done all of them so many times that I have given it more thought than I really care to admit. But for me, over time, it has become easier and, just kind of, we're going to be having a large area for storage and everything else down here anyway. If you're doing all that, you might as well keep some space free and just lay out big paths of diamonds or coal, or it's more most often redstone and coal and quartz. But you just unload everything that you brought back and then knock it all back into the form that you're going to use it in, and works out. So that's what we're kind of doing here. But knowing that we need to get levels to build we want to get up to 30 first, because we want to get one of those picks to efficiency 4, and then we'll throw the unbreaking, mending, and silk touch on it, and then lather, rinse, repeat until we get all of those ready to go. Depending on how long that takes, we'll also look at, was this where I was quarrying all this before? I can't remember. Oh, maybe it was over on this path. I admit, I'm a little lost. We had a hole where we were pulling out obsidian, and I lost it. But that's the way it goes sometimes, so we'll just start over. Hopefully that doesn't knock out too many torches. Again, when you get set up, throw those around. Now, we already used up our one that we'd started on the fortune, and by started I mean had already put some wear on it. So we'll do this, and then just like last time, I want to start by clearing an edge. Just like with gravel over lava, you don't want to accidentally find that you're falling in yourself is certainly bad, but almost worse when it comes to breaking your early obsidian is watching a block that you've chopped for this long, blah, 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 blah. You break it, and then you watch it drop into lava, and it just is gone. And you're like, oh, I did all that for nothing? So I do like to get down on the level of the blocks, not be chopping at my feet, but in front of me, and then just pull them up. So far, we haven't even encountered any lava underneath any of these, but it's more often than not, you may get an edge, but as you work in a particular direction, you're going to find at some point that lava got deeper than one deep. So there we go. So here's, the lake will maybe move in that direction and get deeper and deeper. And we talked about the numbers again, for anyone who hasn't already put this together. Man, I wish I just knew off the top of my head how many we had upstairs, but I think we'll get just enough to do a base portal, and then we will maybe wrap this episode as we poke our head into the nether and see what we've got. Rather than doing a dark room spawner, where kind of just the direction this world has gone in. If I didn't, if I wasn't just like, oh man, I just need base experience, I need to be trying to enchant stuff as I go, I would more favor the dark room, and we'd go, and I've covered it previously, not in this episode or even this session, but I've talked about it before. We could have had a dark room spawner just after we, kind of made our first run down to level 11 here, and before we done any diamonds or anything like that. I guess it wouldn't have made a whole lot of sense because I do usually pair that with enchanting. But as soon as we had two, we could have looked to parlay that into a darkroom spawn or another. But I like to have one, and I want to build one here too. But I like to do so where they're not just complete eyesores out there. And being that for efficiency's sake, you want to build them up high, and I like to build them over water. They're they're kind of obvious once you've got it there, and they become because you don't necessarily just want to put them half a world away. Although we have the advantage of where we find ourselves is we also have more flexibility because we may not just have to put it as close as possible. I don't want to put it right over the frozen. So I had thought initially, let's go up here, take a look. It's kind of like dropping to the sand out in the parking lot and whipping up football plays when you're a kid. I had thought, let's go out into this bay and kind of throw it up there, and we'll put that 2 full stacks above sea level, so 128 blocks high. And this is all spawning stuff. That's gonna get us out of the range of mobs that are spawning in or below the water. And that's a big part of making a darkroom spawner, is you want that. So you want to be well removed, so it's going to be up, and could be right out there. And when I look for that spot, I want it where I don't have land. Right, I kind of want to be ideally 128 blocks from any land in any direction, and that gets to be a big bay or ocean type area. So it's a little bit of hunting around, and that's why one of the reasons, and I kind of downplayed it when we were in our first episodes and we were hunting. I was talking about the villages and things like that, but I also said there's a structure I want to build, and it would be a darkroom spawner. I want to have access to water so that even if it's not right at my base, I can get to it pretty easily if I'm not into the nether. The fact that we're about to go into the nether takes a lot of that pressure off, because we can do portaling. It also helps. Doesn't completely eliminate, but it does help our need for bamboo that I'm so eager for, because I like to have scaffolding, obviously, to build my my first setup for my dark room. Until you can get the water elevators, ladders. Yes, you can do it. You can make it work, but it certainly is nicer to have the scaffolding and just throw it up, go up and down through it, and not have to worry about whether you might catch the edge of a ladder or slip on a rung, that kind of stuff. So we're talking a lot. We are getting very desperate on our space here, but it's all going to be okay. I promise, because we are so darn close to getting these silk touch picks, and that will allow us to be a little more purposeful in our construction of our storage. So we want. I'm going to drop this. I need this. What I was really here for is to make flint and steel. Let's do that. We need. Man, I'm getting. Anybody getting the little butterflies? Going to the nether for the first time in a world is exciting, because you don't know what the terrain's going to be like when you pop out. Obviously, we're not as burly as we will be eventually, and so there's more risk. We don't need that to avoid any mistakes. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. Know what I mean? Um, honestly, I don't need this many picks, but we'll bring them. I don't need the water because that would not do much for us in the nether. And I'm trying to go through and think, all right, I can use this, I can't use that. What happens if we end up here or there? Um, we'll have our bow, which is a big advantage now that we've got power 5 on it. That will be a big help if we start pulling ghast or anything like that. We want a bunch of stacks of cobble. This is going to help buy us some storage time, but also will help us protect our initial gateway when we do pop out up there. And we'll talk through this pretty quickly as we pop up in there, depending on how fully focused I need to be. Sometimes you can find that you've just ended up in a situation that requires your full and undivided attention. And if it does, know that I will look forward to catching you guys up as soon as I've stabilized, stabilized whatever we need. So this is what I was talking about again several sessions previous when we were first getting obsidian. I'm gonna raise this roof a few more. We're at 3. It'll at least be 4, if not 5 high when all is said and done. So I do like to just pop all the way across there. So that's purely cosmetic. There's no functional need. You can cut all the corners like I did below. I certainly am not going to mine and then place extra obsidian just for the sake of burying it and filling out the cube, square, rectangle, whatever. The shape of the unseen corners of the portal. So now I am going to pull up. We're so jammed already on space that we'll go ahead and drop that back. Top off our torches again. I don't think we're going to stay down long enough to get through a full stack of arrows. So do it like this. All right, y'all ready? This is your special treat for sticking through, and I do appreciate all the villager trade setup stuff. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I really don't want to go in without blocks ready in case I've got lava raining down. I was just like, I should be on the bow in case there's a ghast. I'm less worried about that than I am the possibility of when you look up. That's kind of where I look first once I get in to the nether. My very first look is to make sure that I don't unseen have lava slowly falling down towards my head, and that's a real possibility when. Now, one other thing to be aware of here. This is pretty great in my opinion on a starting location, and I'll fill in a little bit more why in just a second. But there's a couple drawbacks. I love being low in the nether. I want to sit at or around the lava surface level, and others like to work high in the nether. It's like so many other things in Minecraft, purely a question of taste or playstyle or choice. You can do it, and there's advantages to both. but for me, I've always liked creating and then using lava level to create my network of paths as I go. This is where we'll see if recording videos becomes detrimental to my health, because here I'm just chatting, and I'm not particularly worried about my own life here, but one of the challenges of setting up in the Nether is if you pop like we did and you have a large space, which is pretty good. I'd always rather, you can get popped basically underground, where you're, in a hole. It carves out a little bit for you in the netherrack or whatever material happens to be around you, but then you don't know, what's around. You can't see. You can't really pick directions, and your mobility requires work for every inch you get. This isn't we may be on the edge of, but this isn't my favorite biome. The soul sandy stuff. Yeah, we can get some bone blocks out of it, and some of that, but it personally, aside from when you're specifically hunting resources, my preferred biome is the more classic nether style. And one of the main reasons I prefer that is the nether quartz nodes that are to be found. And when you get those, especially once you have silk touch, but even as we're going to show today, if we can find some, it will let you mine out a lot of XP. So what I was hoping to do here is keep the glass part, the portal-y part of the portal, protected. If a gas drops out into this big open area, and if he shoots through a fireball and it hits the purple part here, it will break your portal. Funny story. The very first time I made it to the Nether in Minecraft, I was, this was a long time ago. And I was so, I was happy with myself, but I was like, oh my God, where am I? What's all this stuff? Everything wants to get me, blah, blah, blah. But I was doing okay. I was running around, and I kind of, there was some soul sand, I recall. It was back then, there was only nether. You were just in the biome, but I'd spawned where there was some sand, and so there was slow, but I'd kind of carved a path through it. And I'd figured out not to punch the zombie pigmen. So I was pretty happy with myself. I'm like, okay, here we go. We're nothing but good. And then I heard, and I think by this point I'd seen enough videos or something. I wasn't going in completely blind, but I'd never done anything firsthand. Is it really, as tough as people hype it up to be, or is it not that big a deal, and it's just purely hype that people are doing when they either run around screaming or act like they're about to die? Well, I thought I was doing okay. I hadn't done any of the mistakes that I'd seen or been warned about from videos and stuff, and so I was, kind of feeling like I was cruising. And then I heard this ghast, and I knew, that's trouble, run. And I had this path through the soul sand, and I was so smart because I think I covered it with netherrack or something like that, and I knew not that if you got into this big field of soul sand, you get slowed down getting away, and that was one of the things you had to look out for. So I was, and yay me, I'd done all that. So I ran back up my little path of path of netherrack, got back to my portal, and I don't think I'd even, obviously I hadn't done any of this. This is kind of the lesson from it. I'd made it back and was just about to go through my portal, and I think he'd already ripped off a few fireballs at me. Oh my! Get out of the hole. Oh, this is. Come on. Where's my hole? Where's my breathe hole? I can't find the hole. There it is. Okay. Now. Oh. 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 I thought I had it. I don't know. I guess I just couldn't get up enough. As I said, the lava's dangerous. We tried to do everything we needed to get out. We got an apple. We were getting time, but there wasn't enough to stick another piece of cobble underneath me. I just can't believe I fell into it. Oh my goodness. Oh, world. We'd come, so it's always when you're getting close, and obviously, right? It's like finding your glasses, the last place you look. You always stop looking, you never go on to the next thing. But man, all those golden pickaxes that we had, or the diamond pickaxes that we had ready to enchant, all the books, like I said, I've never been that well stocked on books, and it's all gone. And I want to feel bad. I like I said, I shouldn't have gotten as focused on the story. I was talking about the one world and not paying attention to what I was doing. And while I was, hang on, we'll go into spectate here. I don't even know if with spectate you can. You can go back from the nether? I have no idea. Never. It's been so long, I guess. I don't know that I've really tried. Oh my goodness. Well, man, I have had so much fun. I don't even feel bad. I know it can be devastating to lose a world. And the more I think about this one, I think it's going to feel worse. And I knew it was kind of coming, but I didn't go all panicky. I thought I could manage it, and I was more worried that I hadn't gotten to the apple quickly enough, as you guys saw. Hang on. Well, again, we're going to go back into it, so give me just a second here. I want to get the score logged, because I had to go back to the video last time. So 88-81. Again, it's not a super advanced world. We hadn't set up XP farms or anything, and we hadn't gone to late game content. But beyond that, you can tell we were kind of right on the brink. It fell, and I said we just talked about it when we were getting diamonds, and I fell in that lava, and I said, if you fall in and you can't get out, you're stuck. And if you have an Eye of Ender that you can throw, you're no problem. You just throw a pearl and you're back out. I think we even had a couple pearls. Maybe that's the lesson. We even if you just have a couple pearls, bring them with just in case this happens. To swim in lava. Okay, let's see if we'll save that once. Oh, and this was not just Susanna, but Susanna Dean. Since that will wrap up the world, and I haven't seen it answered in the comments, I will now reveal as we before we go back in and to everything. Both Susanna Dean and Oi are characters in Stephen King's The Dark Tower series, which I'm rereading. I wouldn't say that Stephen King is my favorite author, but I definitely enjoy and I haven't prolifically read them. The Stand, It, and The Dark Tower are kind of my big ones, and I think The Stand I read early, either high school or college type range, and have read multiple times since. It's just I think one of the great standalone type novels, and with Stephen King, a lot of his stuff all has cross references and kind of fills a bigger multiverse. We're tangenting, and this is how I'm dealing with the grief of this world. But yeah, so second time I'm actually going back in and rereading the Dark Tower series. And Suzanne Dean is one of the main characters in that book series. Oi is a dog-like creature that befriends him, and Lud, who is our donkey, is a city, particularly nasty. Stephen King, right? This wasn't unicorns and lollipops and sunbeams. Kind of grisly stuff. I'm not recommending it for everybody if you're not into kind of a cross between horror and kind of grisly horror, gritty westerns, and the the darker expanse of some of the Lord of the Rings stuff, which he talks about in the introductions of the my Kindle version, and I think some of the most recent publications, his introduction stuff, which I think he listed as having written in the mid '90s or so. Whenever he was coming back, and at least for the first 4 books or so, it's a 7-book series, I want to say. Anyway, check it out if you're a King fan and you haven't dipped your toe in the Dark Tower. A few years back, they tried a movie of it. Book movies always struggle in comparison. That one in particular, I'm not sure exactly what they were. It was like they were sort of picking up some of the stuff, but they didn't even try for a close approximation of even a part of one of the books. It was just picking and choosing from it, and probably a big payday and lots of stuff. But you kind of knew as they were hyping it as this is the beginning of the Gunslinger. Yeah, this one may not come back for future editions, and I don't know that they have anything in the work. Anyway, that was the tie-in of the name and the character names within it. We may try to mix it up a little bit, maybe bring those back in some future worlds. It it won't always be. It gets real easy, and it's easy to cheat. If even you just mention a name like that, and you go, it's so easy now with Google, anything on the internet. Just, oh yeah, I know that reference. It's more cool when you just you see something and it's being mentioned. You go, oh, I know what that is. So no prizes or reputation or anything like that, but I do like to try to name those things back in a little bit. So anyway, let's come back into the world. And I'm not sure. Let's try here first. Okay, it does pull me back now, and it will. So it's day 136. So let's escape here. I just want to update my notes. Day 136. Again, I'm a little bummed. Not entirely off of pace. This was probably the most comparable in terms of a death world, where I talked about it. I let my slow fall potion expire, and then the dragon popped me up in the air. I haven't been watching it closely enough and plummeted to my death. And feather falling doesn't help you a whole lot if the dragon puts you up above the obsidian towers and you go all the way back down. So yeah, watch out for those kind of things. But as you can see, 90 or so days to the end, and that was working, I believe, out of a darkroom spawner, and certainly, I've never been this early that dependent on the village traders, but we'll keep looking at those kind of things going forward. Obviously, for a Monday evening, as I'm recording this, and already having done 2 sessions, we're gonna take some time and hang out. I'm going to play around, and forgive me if this doesn't run real smoothly first time for everything, and I hope you'll bear with me. I don't even know if this will show up, but you're probably going to see some blocks on the visible game menu screen there. I'm learning as I go, so I hope you will bear with me here. What I'd like to do, if possible, is see if I can window. And another cool thing about streaming and having a chat that may or may not be clipping your stuff, they can pull up your death. Oh, hey, we died by the time we've talked this long. Somebody's already got okay, give me the 30 seconds around my death. That's what I'm trying to do here now. And it looks like I have the video. I hope this doesn't derail what I'm currently recording. Again, this could be an exact disaster. It's a disaster. I can't do it. We will review. I will pull a death clip, I hope, and be able to play that in a future video where we can go back in and play by play review how I'm going. I'm just checking right now to see that we're still recording now. So sorry. Another technique I don't know yet. I don't know how to pull from within my currently actively growing video recording and pull out that clip of my death. If anybody, if anybody knows that there's a cool way to do it, and again using just the free available version of OBS, I would. I'd love to be able to do that in the future without having to break the episode. And we're not going to do that tonight. I will wrap it up. We can talk through this a little bit and go. But when we're maybe before we dive into our next world in the next video, I'll have that clip. We can hopefully play it. I will play around with all that and make sure it's ready to go before I publish a new video. But we'll pull it up and talk about it as it's playing. And I can tell you exactly, if you want to go back and look or just, rewind a little bit here after we've talked it through, you can watch it and see what happened. I inadvertently broke out as I was trying to. Well, in fact, and this is why I'll want to look at the video, because I think what I actually did is I had a block of soul sand on the edge of the ones that I'd chopped, and I was setting the cobblestone and placing it. What I was trying to do was get it down at that lava level surface. And in the back of my mind, I hadn't said anything, but what I was thinking was I'd like to do a drop down stairs to an entrance to the little portal room at level, but without going out a door first from that little cobblestone box that I'd made. And I thought that would be kind of cool. We were up a few blocks, and I was going to talk about, this is just like the gravel shelves that I talked about when we were mining the diamonds. I said those can float, and you'll be up above, and it's tough to get out if you should fall through, or in the case of gravel, inadvertently knock so that a bunch of the ones you're standing on all let go. I believe that one of the two blocks immediately in front of me was soul sand, and I was reaching down to place the cobblestone that I wanted to jump down onto, And if you crouch, typically, if you crouch and stand on the edge of like the dirt block on the screen right in front of us, in the lower left there, if you go over on the edge of that and kind of teeter on it, if you crouch, you won't fall off the edge of that block. And that's how you do a lot of the building stuff safely. You don't want to fall, so you just crouch, and then you can hang your body almost a full block off of it, and just your very tippiest toenail hanging onto that block, and you'll be just fine. And there's no way that you can, unless you lift off your shift finger, you can't knowingly get off that block until you come out of your crouch. Something could knock you off. And the big there's two exceptions that will get a lot of people in Worlds. One is soul sand, which I think is what got me, and the other are stair or slab blocks. So anything that doesn't have a full block edge, if it's a stairs or if you're walking on half slabs, the shift will not hold you. You'll fall right off the edge. So watch out for those. I think that's what got me, though. I think I was trying to place and I didn't think about it. And I went for the shift to hold on and just stepped right off the edge. I fell, and by falling from the height, you don't even go slowly. You're just underwater, under lava, but under the surface. And you heard me say, as when I went down the first time, I wasn't right under the opening, and it was just a 2 block opening. And I said, "Oh, I got to find the air hole. Where's the air hole?" Got flailed around it. I found it, and I was safe. And then, in the course of trying to get the apple and eat that to give me more time to figure out my situation and make sure I was okay, I sank again, and that time as I was trying to come back up, somehow I got stuck under the whatever netherrack or whatever was blocking the hole, and it's tough to see where even more so than water, what's air, what's not air, and so you just got to kind of go back and forth. And if you're going in the wrong direction, you're insta death. It's all going to slowly tick down, but you can't go far enough away to try to see a difference. You just got to kind of hope for it. And I got it and was back in again, thought we had it, and I was trying to place the block because I wanted to get the cobble, and I had already put down some, and if I could have clipped the edge of that and gotten a block up, I could have jumped onto it. The problem was, if you're in lava, you can't jump out of the surface, and I couldn't get high enough to then place the block that would have lifted my feet out. And it was kind of all over from there. It would have been it was getting increasingly unlikely to save ever after. I could have just kept munching apples and hopefully gotten enough hearts back up to survive, but in the nether, you kind of just have to wait for that fire to go out. You can't use water, so you got to just kind of grin and bear it while it's burning you, or I would have had to have dashed for the portal, hope to get back inside, but then my water was all the way back upstairs, and I think just in the portal loading time it would have killed me. So we were in trouble from the start. That's my obviously I'm not recapping. I'm looking at the same pastoral screen that we are, and that was our spawn location. Remember, we were in the area here. There's a pillager outpost this way, I believe. I don't know why this isn't loading. I think that may kind of be a deal. You guys may know better than I do. I typically don't if it's just my world and I'm not recording, it's not often, even if they're long. I just consider it good, and when I'm dead, and it's gone. But I kind of recall this is a deal that you don't. It will load the chunks that you were either in when you died if you were in the overworld, or you get the spawn chunks when you come back, and that's what you get. You don't just get to pick and choose and bounce all over in spectator mode. since we've just got a few idle minutes and we're wrapping up, this is a good way to highlight that these are the spawn chunks, I believe. I think that this is the predefined, and it may have expanded more. So don't get too angry if I'm a little off here. I'm emotionally, I'm in a tough place. I just lost this world. But joking aside, these are either the historical or the current spawn chunks. And what that means is you hear it talked about quite a bit when you first open a new world. So that in the next video, we'll be starting World 3, and, back to nothing. We'll be punching trees again. But when we emerge, we will be at a spot, that will be roughly at the center of our spawn chunks, and we will see the world build around us. Well, these chunks, I believe, are the ones that will always be loaded in the game. And that may also be something, it may be that there were other chunks loaded around my nether portal, and I don't know if there's a way to, telejump over there in spectator mode. I doubt it. I think that we're we're just done here. But when you hear people talk about building machines in the spawn chunks so that they stay permanently loaded, what that means is that whenever you're playing in your Minecraft world, and our base ended up being a long way away from here, a few hundred blocks. It wasn't a marathon away, but it was significant. It was outside these chunks for sure, and by a factor of several times. So a ways away. Well, when we're playing over in a Donkey Village or at our hilltop base there, this is stuff that is still loaded in the game memory. The spawn chunks will always load. So the animals that live here, anything that's in this immediate vicinity, it'll go about its day. It'll keep growing. So when you hear about people saying, oh, I'm in the iron farm back at the spawn chunks, that will continue to run, and you can come back to your spawn and visit it, and you don't have to be there the whole time while you're playing for the benefits of whatever that farm may be to keep going. So if you had I don't know, gold farms, I think as well, anything that relies on a steady flow of mobs being killed independent of you. So, some kind of a lava blade or golems or anything like that that's just taking care of the mobs that are coming. You can set those up in these chunks and they'll go. And if they're designed to gather the loot from those, it'll just pile up and you'll have a big old stack of it. So that was a good opportunity and kind of filled out some of the rest of our time. I'm just going to take this last opportunity in this world to say how much I've appreciated everybody tuning in, giving me a chance, and hopefully enjoying what you see. A lot of what you saw was, my play style, and some of it was going about as well as it could. Obviously, we didn't have the full benefit of the golden apple, but those villagers and setting all that kind of stuff up. I won't say that we completely got lucky. I don't think there's anything outside of that, but we applied a technique pretty well. What I will hope is, and what I'll do my best to do is, as we enter into a new world and we find new biomes and all kinds of new challenges, I will try not to rehash on what we've done, and some of those things may go a little bit more quickly. Hopefully, that will break up the talking. Well, I still do like farms and like having all that kind of stuff. Hopefully, you saw some of the benefit of that when we were turning out all those books. And yeah, it will take a few episodes at the beginning of a world, but it will get us to the point where we're not just sitting at an enchanting table trying to get, the best combination enchants on the gear and looking at the feet of a bunch of mobs as we kill them over and over and over again. There's always a back and forth on what's the best way to accomplish that. So I expect that we'll probably do something along those lines. We may try to vary it up a little bit, and it'll depend a lot on how quickly we get some of those different crops. Granted, you're always going to get wheat early, because all you have to do is just go break some grass, and you're going to get wheat seeds. So some of those things come, but getting carrots and potatoes and melons and pumpkins all very early on, and really only being left to look for beets for the first time we even really tried to go back out looking for stuff. We got beets. We never got bamboo, but who knows? Maybe next time we'll pop right in the middle of a jungle or a badlands or some of the other biomes we haven't really explored yet. I can't say I'd be real wild about a snowy taiga home, but maybe we'll pop up in one of those and give it a try. If circumstances are right, it could be real good. So, thanks again for tuning in. We're gonna wrap up now, but we'll be back. We'll get through this, and next time we'll get a whole fresh new world and see where that one takes us. Hope you've enjoyed, and hope you'll be back to see the beginning of World 3 as it is. And for now, we're going to pull out of the video. I I don't give it a second thought when it's just my own worlds, but I don't think there's any reason for us to keep going back in there. I don't even know that. so so how I troll myself on all this kind of stuff. This is how you. So we did all right for an early. We got to the Nether. At least I can show you this now. We we came close enough to see that there is a whole nother tab of Nether advancements. Unfortunately, there isn't one for falling into the lava 2 seconds after you get there and dying. But hey, now there's a bunch more, and some of these will expand out as you get the ones that are initially displayed. You'll get more chances to expand. Clearly, we probably made some of our deeper pushes in the husbandry stuff. We did decently on breeding. We got 5 out of 19. Can we run them all back in our heads? It was cows, chickens, pigs, sheep. Those were 4, and then we had the dogs. And we were certainly set up where we had a horse and a donkey. We could have gotten the mule, and we had other horses and other donkeys around. And we were so close. That was what I was, I if I hadn't slid, and we'll check it, we'll make sure I didn't break the block. But I think I thought I was crouching and slid off the soul sand. I'm pretty sure that's what got me. But we'll take another look. We'll give it a whirl and see how it all came out. But yeah, it's just kind of fun to see. And we did, we got our shield stuff again. None of these are super involved and awesome, but we got there. We got good progress. Now there's one more tab. Now that you know there's more, there will be one more for the end. Once we've done the dragon stuff and all that will have the other achievements there. It's relatively light compared to these as far as the number of advancements. So those are advancements. As for our statistics, if there's any that you would particularly like me to look at in future worlds, we can certainly take a look. But yeah, we got what's that? Probably around 30 hours, 1.3 days. So lots of quality, fun playtime. Really enjoyed that. Jumped almost 6,000 times. I mean, these are pretty low because we didn't. It's different from what I would have expected, because usually I'd have that darkroom spawner, and so some of my top ones would be. Isn't there a total killed? We got some horse distance. What's our distance? Is there maybe that rolls in the donkey? I wish there was a distance by donkeys category. That would have been cool. That must, because I'm amazed. We only went 30K by boat and we went 5 by horse. You're saying that our donkey trip was a sixth of all of our boat rides? That's amazing to me. And caught 6 fish. So, well, it doesn't give us an overall total. Here's our statistics on how many times we killed individual mobs. And the good news is our record in this one for having been killed is intact. Nothing killed us other than our own attempt to plunge into a lake of lava. But very low. Usually, particularly creepers, I would have. I think in that other world I was comparing us to that was close. I probably had maybe close to 3,000 creepers in that, because when you build the dark room to almost exclusively, usually I leave one floor of it open for other mobs, just for a little bit of variety. But usually, I've just got a bunch of creepers coming down. Did slimes take the lead? Where they are outside of our animals that we were harvesting. Cows, we got a bunch of. All right, that was it. Mined a lot of stone. We broke a lot of shovels. We crafted a lot of torches and wooden planks. That's interesting. We used a lot of picks. We picked up a lot of cobble and dirt. Seeds. Seeds is amazing. But wow, even more. That is incredible. We picked up both nearly as many one more time. Nearly as many potatoes, not pumpkins, and carrots as we did grass seeds. That I've never really bothered to look at. See, it's fun to have an audience and be looking back through some of these kind of things before we just delete and dropped. And this is so high because both of these represent feeding the villagers to get them to breed. So when we were in the midst of our farmer villagers and just dropping stacks of potatoes and carrots to get them to go, as you can see, 2 stacks of carrots was all we ever did. And I remember this guy. That was the accidental when I earlier today, I accidentally threw a piece of steak to the villager and said, "No, you can't have that. You eat potatoes." And I grabbed it. And I remember that. That was today, too. That was dropping the sword in the chicken farm. So, just like I said, the memories is kind of like the slideshow of our vacation in World 2. You see different things and you go, "Oh, man, I remember exactly what that meant to me at the time." So, I hope this has been fun. We really have now. Actually, we're still just a hair under 2 hours, but we are definitely at the end of this world. So once more, we'll say goodbye to the statistics. We will save and quit, and we'll go in one more time and make this one gone forever. It was my pleasure to share it with you, and I hope you enjoyed. Have a great rest of your day or evening. Hope it goes smoothly, and I will look forward to seeing you in our next video, whenever that may be up. Have a great day.